Coming up on this edition of MHS Rewind, we'll give you an up-close and personal look at the historic Red for Ed event at the State House last week. We'll have a preview of the musical Elf and a feature story on an MHS student who just released a studio album.
And in sports, we'll have a preview of boys basketball, take a look at the new swim coach, and have highlights from girls basketball. Good afternoon, MHS. I'm Mason Brown.
And I'm Ash Olson. We'll have all those stories and more coming up on this edition of MHS Rewind. Teachers, support staff, and even students from around the state showed up in force last Tuesday at the State House in Indianapolis for the historic Red for Ed event.
Red for Ed! Red for Ed! Red for Ed!
Over 15,000 teachers from across the state flooded the State House lawn with a sea of red.
The turnout's amazing. It's more than I expected.
A teacher band even stood at the main entrance into the State House building, blasting their message to legislators that they aren't going to take it anymore. Teachers traded in their apples for posters to bring attention to the changes they believe Indiana legislators need to make for education.
If we want to really show that we care about learning and educating in Indiana, we've got to put all of our students first.
Putting students first, they say, by fixing problems with class size, testing, school funding, and teacher pay.
A lot of my friends are having trouble being able to raise their kids on a teacher's salary, and that's just wrong.
Katia Marie was one of over 70 teachers from the MSD of Martinsville at the State House. They joined teachers from Lafayette, Fort Wayne, and the rest of the state in a big sign of solidarity.
And we're just getting started.
Keith Gamble is the president of the Indiana State Teachers Association. The ISTA organized the Red for Ed event. They are asking legislators to invest budget surplus in teacher compensation, hold students, teachers, and communities harmless for poor I-Learn scores, and repeal externship requirements for license renewal. And they brought in state and national leaders to make sure their message was heard.
When people gather, it's a loud voice, so we hope that the legislators hear very loud and clear that voters in Indiana and the public, those who support public schools want to see bills passed that actually do support public schools.
It was Organization Day for legislators to begin preparing for the upcoming short session. Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray from Martinsville released a statement after the event saying, "We have worked to demonstrate our commitment to K-12 education through a historic increase in funding during the recent budget session, and we will continue working to demonstrate our commitment going forward." Educators say it still isn't enough.
The state has the resources and the ability to take bold action, and we believe the time is now.
And if they don't, the educators had one final message for their legislators.
We're going to remember in November. That's what they're telling them. If you're not going to do it, we'll vote for someone who will.
The Vocational Department held a Next Level Careers and Skilled Trades open house a couple weeks ago. Ivy Tech, Lincoln Tech, Overton Industries, and Haggard and Stocking. Those were just a few of the guests at the Tech Ed open house held by the Vocational Department.
This is an open house to showcase all the available courses here at Martinsville High School that you don't have to have a 4-year degree to complete and make good money.
The goal of this event is spreading awareness of the skilled trades and the courses at MHS related to them.
Try to draw kids in as they come into high school. Maybe they're interested in woodworking or machine trades or robotics, and it gets kids interested and get them and drawn into these programs.
Parents, current students, and incoming students got the chance to walk through the vocational building and explore all that it had to offer. They saw a 3D printer, students welding, Christmas ornaments being made in the machine shop, and even an albino Burmese python from the animal science classroom. They met the teachers and even got to talk to the high school students in the program.
I want people to be more engaged, people to become engineers, inspired to be big things. So to be more on the technological side of things, because just the way our world's going in the future.
This was the second year for the event. It started as a machining open house and grew this year to include all the skilled trade programs at MHS.
You can do a 2-year degree, certificate, union, lots of opportunities to be able to go and do some things and make a very good living for yourself without a 4-year degree.
If you're interested in any of the programs back here in the vocational wing, including MHS Rewind and the RTV class, talk to your counselor before scheduling your classes in January.
One of those classes on display during the Tech Ed Fair was robotics. Alex Piccolo takes a closer look at the robotics team as they build robots for their upcoming competitions.
If you stop by Mr. Heacock's room on Tuesdays and Thursdays after school, you'll find a group of 16 students building robots.
It's people who have the thought, the mind, the knowledge of wanting to build things, create things, and become better in technology, basically.
Those students are working in teams getting the robots ready for competitions that start in February. One of those is the Southern Indiana Competition Series, sponsored by Ivy Tech. Students are designing autonomous robots for the competitions, which means they have to be able to run without a driver. They will be programming the robots to compete in a couple of different events, including a new one called Big Sumo.
Right now we're building Big Chungus, which is the big sumo robot, where in the past we've had Little Sumo, which was a tiny robot that would just do a sumo match, basically. But this one's a much bigger, 15-inch by 15-inch by 15-inch, so it's very big. We're trying to make it to the max ability, so it will work very nicely.
They're also programming robots for a different competition sponsored by Rose Holman in April.
I'm the team captain for the Rose Holman team, and we have to build a robot that is designed to go around a track using only a camera. We have to program it to be able to sense black tape on the side of the white track, and if it exits the track, we are disqualified for that round.
MHS plans to host a competition here in the cafeteria as part of the Ivy Tech series in April. For MHS Rewind, I'm Alex Piccolo.
The academic decathlon team is studying after school, perfecting their knowledge for this year's state competition. Hannah Johnson has the story.
High school is pretty stressful for most students, but that doesn't stop the academic decathlon team from taking on even more studying to keep their winning streak at state finals alive. Being a part of the decathlon team means spending about 300 hours after school studying, reading, writing, taking tests, and practicing speaking. Martinsville has won state 20 times out of the last 22 years. They hope to continue to live up to that title again this year as they study the topic of illness and wellness.
It's definitely different from last year because I'm a returning member, so I can sort of compare it to the progress we made last year, and I'm happy with where we are.
5 new students have joined the team this year, and they are excited to keep the winning streak they've heard so much about. The members have quickly learned to bond with each other during their 2-hour study sessions every day after school.
I think it's going really well. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of work, but we also find ways to make it less kind of cumbersome.
I like the team a lot. They're a lot of fun to be around, and they work really hard, so they're easy to coach.
Coach Chris Sturgeon is back for his 5th year of coaching, but this year he and his wife are expecting a baby boy. When his son is born, math teacher Susan Atkins will be taking over.
She's going to be fully in charge, and so she's done a great job of coming in and meeting all the team and figuring out the system and know what it takes to win. And then if they win and go on to nationals, she'll be the one that takes them to Alaska.
Sturgeon plans to go to Alaska with the team as well, and hopes that they make it there because it's also where his national competition was when he was a member of the team back in 2001. The state competition is usually the second week in February, but a new organization is running the event this year, and Sturgeon says it might happen a little later. However, he and the team plan to continue to practice as normal, and they plan to take home first place once again this year. For MHS Rewind, I'm Hannah Johnson.
Students at Martinsville High School have been putting together the holiday production of Elf the Musical. Annabelle Cleary has the story.
The cast and crew of the show have been putting in 25 to 30 hours a week trying to get the production ready. Usually, the high school musical is mid-November, but due to the auditorium renovations, they were given an opportunity to do something different.
So we said, you know what, if we're going to do a show in December, let's do like a full-out Christmas show with a holiday theme as well.
The musical is based on the popular Christmas movie, Elf.
If you're thinking maybe it's going to be like Elf the movie and you don't like that, it's so much more endearing. You see so much more of the heart of the characters and not just the comedy that they portray.
It's not a musical where you sit silently and go, oh my gosh, it's so serious. No, it's funny. And like I said, even more funny, I think, a lot of times than the movie itself is.
There are 2 separate casts for the show, and even though Will Ferrell isn't Buddy in this production, Jack Reese and Levi Johnson are taking on the ambitious role.
Singing is really fun. All the songs that Buddy has is really energetic and delightful. I don't know, just the energy of Buddy is really happy.
Thank you, Santa.
His emotions that he has and the kind of quirkiness that he has, I can reflect very easily, and it's enjoyable.
The people who are singing and acting are great. It's really funny. It's going to surprise you how funny it is.
You can see the production of Elf right here in the newly renovated MHS Auditorium on December 13th, 14th, and 15th. For MHS Rewind, I'm Annabelle Cleary.
One student at MHS is taking her musical talent to a whole new level and introducing it to a whole new audience in the process. Anthony Talent has more on this feature story.
At first glance, Miah Ferran appears to be your typical high school student studying during class. But the MHS senior is also a singer-songwriter who just released her first album. After school, she finds herself doing gigs, practicing, or recording her music. But this has been her everyday even when she was younger.
I started singing probably when I was like 3 or 4, to be honest, but like professional, like not professional, but like real, I started doing gigs probably when I was 13.
Ferran credits her dad for helping her pursue music as a career.
And the ones that mother gives you.
He would help me get gigs, call restaurants, go to open mics, help me practice. You know, he bought me my first guitar, my first piano, my sound equipment. He really has been like my biggest supporter in all of this.
She released her first studio album in October called Nothing Yet. She recorded it over 2 years at Arc Barn Records.
With school and everything, it was hard at times to get up there, and because it takes a long time to record in that type of setting. So there would be breaks in between if I had a lot of school, or if I do the musical, or if I'm in show choir. So it happened over about 2 years.
After she recorded it, the studio sent it to 2 producers in Nashville to mix and master it.
I kind of leaked that I was going to be releasing some stuff pretty early in the process because I thought it was going to be done a lot earlier than it was done, which it was done later than I thought, but it was fine. And so when it finally did come out, it was just like an explosion of like support and like so much just positivity, and people like loved it, and I still like every day get Snapchats from people listening to it in the car.
There are 5 songs on the album. Miah's favorite is I'm Done.
You're right, I'm wrong. I don't put in the time I need to yet.
But the fan favorite on Apple Music is Home. You can listen to it and the rest of the album on Apple Music, Spotify, and Google Play. For MHS Rewind, I'm Anthony Talent.
I got the chance to listen to the album, and it's pretty good. I think I'd add it to my playlist.
Yeah, I think I'm going to too. Now, let's turn our attention to Artesian Athletics and send it over to Stahil Meckling for a look at sports.
Thanks, guys. The boys basketball team opens their season this weekend, and as Zane Spangler tells us, they're looking for their seniors to lead the charge.
2. That's how many seniors the boys basketball team has this year.
It's a big responsibility, you know. You look at the guys in the past, like last year, Reed and Tyler, they stepped up, led this team. You know, that's kind of our job now. So.
And that's the job Costin and fellow senior Craig Westner have been doing this preseason.
I think leadership is big, holding people accountable, making sure that, if we see somebody who's, not doing what they're supposed to be, picking them up and telling them and correcting them, that's big, so they can do it to the same when we're gone, us seniors.
The young Martinsville Artesians look for their seniors to help the team improve overall.
Well, Craig Westner is probably one of the hardest working athletes we have in our building. He's a 3-star, 3-sport athlete, and really expect him to carry on just being that hard-working guy, first to the floor, taking charges, hitting the shot when he's open. And then Brady Costin really will be a guy that we look for energy to bring to the floor on both ends, has a little toughness to him, rebounds the ball pretty well. So I think it'll start with those two guys, and then we'll go from there.
Coach Staggs has filled out the rest of the roster with a plethora of young talent, including sophomore guard Landon Myers and freshman Caleb Cheatham. The Artesians also incorporate a couple big men into the group, 6'9" sophomore Dayton Devon and 6'6" junior Noah Stout.
Hope the students come out and watch us play. We think we have a good product. We know the community will come out and watch us. I think our guys are going to work hard. I think we're going to take some charges, make the extra pass, and I think we're going to be fun to watch.
The fun starts next Saturday, November 30th at Edgewood. For MHS Rewind, I'm Zane Spangler.
The girls basketball team hosted Terre Haute North on the 15th for their home opener. It was a defensive battle early on between the Artesians and the Patriots as both teams struggled to find the basket. Martinsville led 7-5 after the first quarter and just 11-10 at the half.
I thought we came out slow offensively in the first half, but in the second half I thought we really looked to score better on the offensive end, and then we also got some critical stops and key points of the game.
The Artesians picked it up in the second half and pulled away with the 38-26 win.
We just out-hustled the other team, which helped us come out with the W.
Dorset finished with 5 points. Patience Walker led the Artesians with 13 points, including 9 from the free throw line. Marlena Kemp ended up with 8, all in the second half.
Well, I got in foul trouble the first half, so the second half I think I did a lot better, being a scoring threat and playing better defense.
Ashlyn Traylor scored 6 points, and Delaney Wolf added 6 points as well.
I think that, offense is going to be our kind of focus next week. I think we need to put up more points in order to be, bigger powerhouse teams down the road.
Martinsville also picked up wins over Bloomington North and Chittard this week. They are now 5-1 on the season and will travel to Mooresville to battle the Pioneers tonight. The Martinsville Wrestlers started their season last Wednesday with a match against Indian Creek. Olivia Osler previews their season.
The Martinsville High School wrestling team hit the mat this Wednesday for their first match of the season against Indian Creek. The team started with a win and look forward to many more to come.
I think we're really solid this year. I think we'll win a lot of dual meets.
Coach Briar Runyon says this year has been a little different. He has worked with most of the wrestlers before, so they all know his expectations and his demands for practice.
It's a more knowledgeable group, so rather than spending a lot of time on technique and moves and things along those lines, we're jumping right into it. We're fighting every day. We're getting after it every day.
The Artesians' top returning wrestler is Micah Dotson. He is ranked 7th in the state in the 220-pound weight class. His main goal this season is to make it to state, and he hopes to do it for all the people who have supported him in his 10 years of wrestling.
My family, they've always been so supportive. My parents, my grandparents, they've never missed a match, and I just want to do this for them and get that state championship.
Doing so may be a little bit more challenging this year, though, because Runyon has added more challenging schools to their schedule, including Lawrence North, Bloomington South, Jeffersonville, and Holt, Michigan, which is one of the top 50 schools in the country.
Iron sharpens iron. If we're just wrestling teams that aren't up to our level, we're not going to get better.
After the win against Indian Creek, the Martinsville Wrestlers are back again this Wednesday for the Edgewood Invite for some sharper competition. For MHS Rewind, I'm Olivia Osler.
The Martinsville swim team has a new leader once again this year. Matt Thomas takes a closer look at him and how he's getting the team prepared for the up-and-coming season.
John Kirtland is back where he always used to love to be, on a pool deck and in the classroom. The English teacher is Martinsville's new swim coach. The former Indiana University swimmer served as a head coach at Southport and Decatur Central High School, where he helped produce state qualifiers. but the past 4 years he was out of the classroom and out of the pool serving as athletic director at Shoals High School. Now he's back what he's doing and trying to turn things around for Martinsville Swimming.
I think our expectations for both girls and boys is to just place as high as we can in our major meets like mid-state, sectional, even the Warren Invite. I think after that, our goal has always been 100% lifetime best. We want our kids to go the fastest they've ever gone in their entire life by the time we hit the end of the season.
Senior Gavin Davis has had 5 different coaches throughout his whole swimming career, and this is his 3rd coach in the past 3 years at MHS.
He does a lot more dryland workouts, and he focuses on getting a lot stronger instead of just worrying about what we do in the pool. But and he just is very motivational, and he cares about you more than you care about yourself, pretty much.
Senior Miles Anderson suffered a neck injury this past summer, leaving him out of swimming for months. He is hoping to be back in action by the start of the season.
He's a great coach. He's very strong, and he makes us work for everything every day and is very motivated in making us better.
That motivation includes a couple mottos he wants his swimmers to not only apply to swimming, but to everyday life as well.
We have an acronym for Artesian that we hold to that basically stands for what we want our athletes to be a part of and be representing every day. We have the 10 traits of a successful team that we have out there. That was by John Gordon, and we wanted to make sure that we had that up there as well to make sure we know exactly what we need to strive for on a daily basis. And then the other thing is we have a little saying that we hold to ourselves that a lot of the community and us, a lot of the students and faculty here will see on the back of our shirts that we hold to is just trying to be positive, trying to be optimistic, trying to be hardworking, and trying to never be doubtful.
The swim team has a meet December 3rd here at MHS. For MHS Rewind, I'm Matt Thomas.
That's all for a look at sports. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Style. That wraps it up for this edition of MHS Rewind. For Style Meckling, Mason Brown, and the rest of the RTV2 class, I'm Ash Olson.
Thanks for watching and have a great Thanksgiving.